Welcome everybody. Today we will start a new chapter, Animal Kingdom, Chapter 4, Class 11th Biology. We'll discuss this whole chapter in 5 sessions. So today we'll discuss the basis of classification of Animal Kingdom. As we have studied earlier, that according to Whitaker's 5 kingdom classification system, the whole organisms are divided into 5 kingdoms, that is Monera, Protista, Fungi, Plantae and Animalia. We have already discussed the 4 kingdoms. Today we will discuss the animal kingdom, that is the last and higher kingdom that includes all the animals. This kingdom includes all the living organisms which are eukaryotes, multicellular, and the cells are without cell wall and are having heterotrophic mode of nutrition. So what are the basis of the classification of the animal kingdom? There are different features are taken together to classify the animal kingdom. Some of them are level of organization, types of digestive system, types of circulatory system, symmetry of body, diploblastic and triploblastic organization, coelom, segmentation and notochord. So we'll discuss these features and how the animals are divided on the basis of these features separately. So let us first discuss the levels of organization. So there are 4 levels of organizations, that is cellular level of organization, tissue level of organization, organ level of organization, organ system level of organization. Okay. So what is cellular level of organization? This is found in the sponges, that is the porifera. So in sponges, the cells are arranged as loose cell aggregates, and the cell, different types of cells are there, and the individual cell or a group of cell perform a specific function. So there is some division of labor among the cells, but here the cells are not forming the tissue. So this is called cellular level of organization, or you can say the cell aggregate level of organization, which is found in the phylum Porifera or the sponges. The next higher level of organization is tissue level of organization. This is found in coelenterate. The arrangement of the cell here is more complex. So here the cells which are performing the same functions and having the common origin are arranged to form a tissue, and a different type of tissue perform different specific function. So this kind of organization is restricted to the phylum Coelenterates or Cnidarians. Okay. Then next higher level of organization is organ level of organization. It is found in the members of Platyhelminthes and other higher phyla. And in this case, in this type of organization, the tissue are grouped together to form organs, and each organ is specialized for a particular function. Okay. Then the most complex level of organization is the organ system level of organization. In animals like annelids, arthropods, mollusks, echinoderms and all chordates, the organ system level of organization is there. That means here different organs are aggregated together or they work together to perform a particular function. For example, take digestive system in human being. We are coded. So in human being, the digestive system consists of several organs. It includes buccal cavity, then esophagus or food pipe, stomach, intestine. So these are all different organs. Stomach is an organ, intestine is an organ, esophagus is an organ. Then the associated glands, that is the pancreas, the liver, and the salivary glands. So these are also individual organs. But these organs together perform a particular function, that is digestion. So all these organs together constitute a particular functional system that is called digestive system. So such level of organization is called organ system level of organization, and as I have told you, it is seen in higher phylums of the invertebrates and all vertebrates or chordates. So here you can see how the animal kingdom has been divided. So here you can see, suppose this is the branching tree. Here you can see at the base there is the ancestral protista are seen. Then from there, the first organism, the simplest level of organization is seen, that is the cellular level of organization, which is seen in porifera. So here at the base you can see the porifera. Then you can see the tissue level of organization, that is in the nidaria, that is coelenterata. Okay. Then coming to the organ level of organization, it is found in the platyhelminthes as well as in the pseudocoelomates, that is nemathelminthes. So you can see on the left side the platyhelminthes are there, or the flatworms are there, and on the right side the nematodes or roundworms are there. The next level, that is next higher level, the more complex level of organization is the organ system level of organization. So that is found in rest of the organism, that is mollusca, echinodermata, annelida, arthropoda, and all chordates. So here you can see how the complexity of the organization level of the body has been increased from porifera to the chordata. Now the other basis of classification of the animal kingdom is types of digestive system. So there are two types of digestive system. One is incomplete digestive system and other is complete digestive system. What is incomplete digestive system? The digestive system where a single opening is present to the outside of the body through which the organism or the animal takes its food as well as removes its undigested food material. For example, platyhelminthes. In platyhelminthes, the organ level of organization is there. There is no complete digestive system is there. So here a single opening is present to the outside which act as both mouth and anus. And since there is only one opening to perform both ingestion and egestion, so the digestive system is incomplete. But in contrary to this, a complete digestive system should have two openings, that is mouth and anus. Mouth for ingestion of the food and anus for the egestion of the food or removal of the undigested food materials. So in platyhelminthes, where there is organ level of organization, the digestive system is incomplete, but in other organism, other higher phyla of invertebrates, and in all chordates there is a complete digestive system. The next level is your, as I have told you, that is the digestive tract. Here you can see the incomplete digestive tract. This is, as I have told you, that is the platyhelminthes are having the single opening. So here you can see they have single opening here in their body through which both ingestion and egestion takes place. So the digestive tract, this is the digestive tract, and here only mouth which acts as anus also, and there is no separate anus. So it is incomplete. So this is example of planaria I am showing you. Now coming to the complete digestive system. So it is seen in case of Annelida. I have shown it in the Annelida. In Annelida you can see there is a mouth at one end of the body, and the other end of the body the anus is there. Mouth is for ingestion of the food and anus is for the egestion of the food. Next basis of classification of animal kingdom is type of circulatory system. There are two types of circulatory system in this, and that is, one is open type circulatory system, other is closed circulatory system. In open circulatory system, the blood is pumped out of the heart and the cells and tissue are directly bathed in the fluid or the blood. Okay, but in closed circulatory system, the blood is circulated through a series of vessels, like as you know, that is arteries, veins and capillaries are present. Different types of blood vessels are there, and the blood is circulating throughout the body through the artery, vein and capillaries. So since here the blood is circulated through the closed vessels and the fluid that is pumped out from the heart is not in direct contact with the cells and tissue, so it is called closed circulatory system. So here you can see the picture of open and closed circulatory system. So here in case of insects, the open circulatory system is present. Here you can see the blood is pumped out of the heart. Okay. Then here are the tissues. Okay. And the blood is called hemolymph. They don't have hemoglobin. So the blood is directly supplied to the cells, and the cells are bathed in the blood, and from the blood the requirements, whatever essential substances are absorbed by the cell by the process of diffusion, and also from the cells that are bathed in the hemolymph, they also exit the substances which are not required by the cell by diffusion. Okay, so here the cells are directly bathed in the blood or the hemolymph that is pumped out from the heart. But here in this case, you can see that the heart is there, and from the heart the blood comes to the organ or tissue through specific blood vessels. Here you can see, and in blood vessels are divided into very narrow channels that is called capillaries. So the cells and tissues are not in direct contact with the blood or the fluid. Here also the diffusion takes place, but the direct contact is not there. So such type of circulatory system is called closed circulatory system. Other than this, there are several different differences are there between the open and closed circulatory system. Let us discuss that. In open circulatory system, heart pumps into the open cavities. The blood vessels only restricted to a small portion, and then the blood are released directly to the cavity where the tissues and cells are there. But in closed circulatory system, as I have shown you in the diagram, the blood is circulated through the blood vessels. Okay. Then in open circulatory system, there is no arteries, so the blood do not flow with high pressure. So the blood pressure is very low, or the blood flows in the cavity at a very low pressure. But since in closed circulatory system, the blood is flowing through the blood vessels. So since the blood has to pass through a narrow channel, so the blood pressure is high, or the blood flows with high pressure. Okay. And since in case of open circulatory system, there is direct contact between the cell or tissue and the blood, so it requires less energy for distributing the blood. But in closed circulatory system, more energy is required, so the animals with a fast metabolism, the closed circulatory system is present. Okay. And this open circulatory system is better for the animals with a small body and slow metabolism, because less active animals with a low metabolism do not require high amount of oxygen. But in contrary, in case of closed circulatory system, it is present in those animals which are able to move very fast, they can digest, and they can eliminate the waste quickly. Okay. So these are the differences between the open and closed circulatory system. Now the next basis of classification is the symmetry of the body. So basing on the symmetry, the organism may be asymmetrical, may be radial symmetry, or may be bilateral symmetry. Asymmetrical symmetry means lack of symmetry. There is no definite shape of the body. There is no specific symmetry, means we cannot divide the body of the animal into two equal halves or any equal halves in any plane. Okay. So this asymmetrical body is seen in case of sponges, poriferas. Then radial symmetry means radius. So when the body can be divided into two identical halves passing through its radius. Okay. So when any plane passing through the central axis of the body divides the organism into two identical halves, it is called radial symmetry. It is seen in case of coelenterate, ctenophores and echinoderms. Okay. The next is bilateral symmetry. That means the body of the animal can be divided into two identical halves, that is left half and right half, in only one plane. This is called bilateral symmetry. As in human being, we can divide our body can be divided into two identical halves, that is left half and right half, only in one vertical plane, not in any radial plane. So here, with the help of picture, let me explain you. So here you can see there is no symmetry. So by no plane you can divide the body into two equal halves. So here the body is very asymmetrical. So here I have shown you amoeba, but amoeba comes under protista. So the sponges body are also, as you go ahead, you will see the structure of different types of sponges. So their body is not symmetrical. Now coming to the radial symmetrical body, here you can see the body can be divided into two equal to identical halves. When it is divided by the plane passing through any radius. Okay. And here, as I was saying you, that in human being, the body is bilateral symmetry. The body can be divided into two equal halves, that is left half and right half, through one vertical plane only. Then diploblastic and triploblastic organization. What is diploblastic organization? When animals, the cells are arranged in two embryonic layers, that is an external ectoderm and an internal endoderm, are called diploblastic animals. That means the body wall of the organism is composed of two layers of cell, two different layers of cells, that is called diploblastic, and it is seen in case of coelenterids. In case of coelenterids, in between the ectoderm and endoderm, ectoderm is the outer layer and endoderm is the inner layer. In between these two, there is a gel-like layer is present, that is called mesoglia. So then why it is not called triploblastic? Because the mesoglia is not a cellular layer. It is not composed of any cells. Only the ectoderms and endoderms are composed of cells, but the mesoglia is simply made up of a jelly-like substance. Okay. Then coming to the triploblastic organizations, the body wall consists of three layers: ectoderm, endoderm, in between which another cellular layer is present, that is called mesoderm. So the organism is called triploblastic. So this type of organization is present platyhelminthes onwards. So here in the picture you can see the diploblastic and triploblastic organization. So first one is diploblastic organization. Here you can see there is a purple color layer with pink cells and purple color cells. So this layer is called ectoderm, and here at the center you can see there is another layer that is called endoderm, and in between these two you can see there is a blue color layer which is jelly like, which there is no cells present in it, so it is not considered as a true layer. So this is the diploblastic organization. Then coming to the triploblastic organization, you can see there are three distinct layers of the body wall, that is outermost is ectoderm, then innermost is endoderm, and in between the ectoderm and endoderm there is another layer called mesoderm. So this type of organization is called triploblastic. Now the animals are also divided on the basis of the coelom present in them. What is coelom? The coelom is the body cavity which is lined by the mesoderm. Okay, or we can say it is the body cavity present between the gut and the body wall. The animals which possess coelom are called coelomates. And who are the coelomates? Annelids, mollusks, arthropods, echinoderms, hemichordates and chordates are the coelomates. But in some animals, the body cavity is not lined by mesoderm, but instead of a continuous layer of mesoderm, a scattered pouch is present between the ectoderm and endoderm, and such type of body cavity is called pseudocoelom. And the Nemathelminthes or Aschelminthes are having the pseudocoelom, and such type of organisms are called pseudocoelomates. So why it is pseudocoelom? Because the mesoderm is not forming a continuous layer. Okay, but all the three layers are there. Ecto, endo and mesoderms are there. But the cavity should be lined by mesoderm, but here the mesodermal pouches are there. There are certain animals in which there is no body cavity at all, and those organisms are called as coelomates. For example, platyhelminthes. Let us see the picture. So here, first one is acylomate. Here you can see this is the gut. At the center, there is a cavity, that is the gut. So the gut is surrounded by a layer of cell, that is endoderm. Then outermost layer is ectoderm, and in between which there is no space, there is no cavity. So this is called as coelom. Coelom is absent. Okay. So this is seen in case of platyhelminthes. Then coming to the pseudocoeloms. So here you can see outer ectoderm is very much clear, inner endoderm is very much clear, but middle mesoderm is not forming a continuous lining just below the ectoderm and above the endoderm. Rather, they are forming the pouches, and these pouches are called pseudocoelom. Okay. Now coming to the coelom. The coelom, you can see that here outer ectoderm is clearly, it is a distinct layer. Then inner ectoderm is there, and centrally a gut is present, and the gut is externally lined by mesoderm. Below the ectoderm, the mesoderm is present, that is red color, and in between them there is a space, cavity, that is called coelom. So such type of organisms are called coelomates. Now next basis of classification is segmentation. In some animals, the body is externally and internally divided into segments. That means exactly the body is not segmented. You might have observed that in an earthworm, the body segments are very much clear. But internally also the body is segmented. How? Internally, some organs are repeatedly present in each and every segment of the earthworm. So the body is both internally and externally segmented, and this kind of segmentation is called metameric segmentation. And this phenomena, the organism where the such type of metameric segmentation is present, then the phenomena is called metamerism. So here you can see how metamerism is seen. So this is the earthworm. Here you can see external segments are very much clear, but internally also you can see that in each segment you can see a particular organ, and these organs are the excretory organs. So these are the nephridia which are present in almost all the segments. We cannot say that the excretory organs are present in all the segments, but different types of nephridia are present in almost all the segments. Okay. Similarly, here you can see the blood vessel. The supply of the blood vessel is also unique. So internally, it shows a type of segmentation. Similarly, in the esophageal region, here you can see the heart. The heart, that is chambers of heart, are also repeatedly present, and they are segmentally arranged. So this is called metamerism. Next, the last basis of classifying the organism or the animals is the notochord. So what is notochord? Notochord is a mesodermally derived rod-like structure formed on the dorsal side during the embryonic development in some animals. So those animals which are having this structure, rod-like structure, are called chordates. So what is notochord? Notochord is derived from the mesoderm, and it is a rod-like structure. But in higher and complex organism, the notochord is highly calcified to form a very strong rod-like structure that is called vertebral column. So the notochord, in our case, we can say that the notochord is present in the form of vertebral column. which provides support to our body. Okay, so this notochord starts forming at the embryonic stage. And as I said, the notochords, the animals where the notochords are present are called chordates, and the animals in which the notochord is absent are called non-chordates. So the non-chordates are the porifera to echinoderma, and then hemichordata onwards, all are chordates. So here you can see. So often we are confused with the spinal cord and the notochord. So spinal cord is otherwise known as nerve cord. It is a part of nervous system. In case of human being, the spinal cord or the nerve cord passes through the cavity that is present in the vertebral column. So here you can see this is the spinal cord. So this is the extended part of the central nervous system. Okay, but here you can see this is the notochord. So the notochord is calcified or ossified, which has been converted into bony structures, and it forms the vertebral column, and it provides support to our body. So it is the part of a skeletal system, that is notochord. But the spinal cord or nerve cord is a part of a nervous system. Now some differences between notochord and nerve cord. Notochord is a solid and sheathed dorsal rod of large vacuolated cells. So the notochord, which is converted into vertebral column in higher organism, is not covered by any sheath, but the nerve cord is highly protected. It is a bundle of nerve fibers. Okay, then notochords are seen in vertebrates and chordates, but nerve cord is present in both chordates and non-chordates, that is vertebrates and invertebrates. The notochord provides support and point of attachment to the muscles. The body muscles are attached to the vertebral column or the notochord. But the nerve cord is the part of the nervous system, and from it the peripheral nerves, the branches of nerves, are developed. In vertebrates, the notochord forms the axial skeleton that forms the major axis of the body, but the nerve cord forms the major part of the nervous system. Now here you can see how the organisms the complexity of the organism has been increased. So here you can see the kingdom Animalia. As I said, the Animalia includes all the multicellular animals. So on the basis of level of organization, so here you can see the cellular level, it is porifera. Then coming to the tissue, organ or organ system level, those organisms which are having tissue, organ or organ system level of organization are further classified on the basis of symmetry. They may be radial symmetry or bilateral symmetry. The radial symmetry is seen in case of Coelenterata and Ctenophora and adults of Echinodermata. Bilateral symmetry is seen. The organisms which are having bilateral symmetry are further divided into different groups basing on the coelom. So those organisms with bilateral symmetry are without body cavity or coelom are called acoelomates, and that includes the platyhelminthes. Then the bilateral symmetrical organisms or animals with false coelom or pseudocoelom or the mesodermal pouches are called aschelminthes, acoelomates. Then the bilaterally symmetrical organisms which are having a true coelom which is lined by mesoderm are called coelomates, and the coelomates includes the Annelida, Arthropoda, Mollusca, Echinodermata, Hemichordata and Chordata. So in this way the animal kingdom is divided into these phyla. Okay, phylum is singular, so phyla is plural. So what are the phyla? Porifera, Coelenterata, Ctenophora, Platyhelminthes, Aschelminthes, Annelida, Arthropoda, Mollusca, Echinodermata, Hemichordata and Chordata. So in this session we discussed the basis of or the features on which the classification of the animal kingdom is based. So I think it is very much clear to you, and in our next session we'll start discussing the different phylums. So in our next session we'll discuss the phylum Porifera, phylum Coelenterata and phylum Ctenophora. Thank you very much for watching my video. If you have not subscribed my channel, please subscribe to watch all the videos of biology of class 12th and 11th and other classes too. And please like, share and comment. Thank you once again.